Neil, if you just start with a squad update, if you would, how's the likes of Ayeti, Forrest, etc. Just an update on the squad.
Well, Ayeti won't travel. He's not fit and not available. Neither is James, as we've touched on before. So, we're hoping Albion will be fit for the Rangers game in a few weeks' time. James, he's going to be a bit longer, but we haven't got a certified length of time on that yet. Chris Julian, he's fit. He's back in the squad. So it's only Albion is the absentee really from the weekend.
I suppose when you get injuries like this, it just kind of harbours the point about having that squad that you're able to not only be flexible with personnel, flexible with formations, and ensure that there's a pool of players that you can rely on for big matches like this.
Absolutely, and in Albion's case, we were always concerned about the sort of lack of football he had in the last sort of 12 months. We were sort of, drip feeding him in and, substitute, working his way up to the full 90 minutes. But unfortunately, he's pulled a hamstring, but not too seriously. But that's indicative of, just being out for such a length of time without any football. So in terms of injuries, we've been pretty okay so far this season. Jamesy, we're a little bit concerned about because it's a sore one. And like we said, we haven't got a length of time on that just as yet.
Would you think he'd be out for the Rangers game?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Just on the Sarajevo game, then obviously last season it was a successful meeting with them. Could you look to that game for analysis or whatnot, and how things have changed from a year past?
Absolutely, you compare it. You can compare. You look at our team, that's changed over the piece, and obviously look at their team as well. So you can take bits and pieces from it, but it's not going to really sort of have an effect or be of much relevance to tomorrow night. Yeah, I mean, they're in good form. They've won the last 4 games. So they're a big physical team, well-organised, set plays, and, they've got a bit of pace in the wider areas. So we know it's going to be a difficult game, just as much as Riga was last week. Riga gave everything. We imagine Sarajevo will do the same. And we have to, match that intensity if they bring it, and bring our own intensity to the game, because the game means as much to us as anybody else, really, for a season.
Sorry, Alison, just finally for me. You mentioned post-match against Riga, they used that experience on the stage and their maturity to see out that tie against Riga. Is that what you're looking for, especially when you go away from home? You need the calm heads, you need the experienced minds, and sort of that group togetherness to get the result.
100%. They've, to be fair, away record in Europe is pretty good over the last couple of years, and we want that to continue. And that's just a build and a progression, from the experience that we've gained obviously as a group and as the players individually. So while we know these games are never easy, we've got a set way of playing, and I would like us to, if we get the chances, to take them a bit earlier. In Riga, we could have put the tie out of sight earlier on, but if that doesn't happen, then you keep going until you get the right result, and it may be a game of patience again tomorrow night. We don't know.
Neil, how much can the performance against Hibs on Sunday help you and the confidence of the players going into this one?
I think psychologically it'll give them a real boost. It was an excellent performance against a good side. A lot of people before the game were tipping Hibs to take points off us, or make life very uncomfortable for us, but I thought we approached the game brilliantly and played very, very well. In terms of the second half, I thought we were dominant and in total control, and that's the sort of performance we've been waiting for a while from them.
Do you think the players can now kick on from that? You talk about the confidence. You've been waiting for a performance like that.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I think they've deserved it. I think they've played reasonably well, against teams, in the main, who have set behind the ball in the really low blocks, and that's always, like a training session almost at times to watch it. But they've negotiated all those games, and then they've played really open, expansive football and defended well at times when we needed to against Hibs. But some of the chances were created, and the quality of football and the pace that we played at really pleased me.
Given what's at stake domestically this season, Neil, how important is the Europa League to Celtic?
Look, Europe's important to Celtic every year, Ronnie, no matter what the stakes are domestically. So, we've been given it, we're prepared well for it. We're ready to go. And, we will approach the game with real intent to win it and look forward to going through, hopefully, and then see what, the group brings. But we're going to have to play well. We're going to have to play strong, play disciplined. But I think it's important that we have European football.
How far do you think Celtic can go in this competition this year, Neil?
I don't know. I'd like to make the group stages first and then we'll take it from there. Honestly, it's just one step at a time. Can't get too far ahead of ourselves. The Champions League exit was a big blow. I know Ferencváros have now qualified, but it's one that we feel has probably got away from us and we can't let that happen again.
Is qualification for the group stages, will that have any bearing on any money you might want to spend on any players?
No, absolutely not, no. So basically, we want the week to end as quickly as possible. We want to keep all the players. If we can add one to the squad, great. If we can't, I'm still very happy with the bunch of players that I've got, and they will get better now. Things will settle down. There'll be, a lot more focus on our season after that.
You'll be hoping to have a lot more games with qualification to the group stage, but given the injuries you mentioned at the top, do you still feel that you might just need that one or two, or is it a case of they're used to playing all the games now, 2 games a week when you've qualified in previous years, they're used to the rigours of European football?
Yeah, I think they're used to it now. Look, there's going to be like a heavy concertina period of games. We're in the middle of, well, not the middle, but this is our 6th game in a block of 7, between the 2 internationals. They look fresh enough. They're actually getting better as we go along. So I think that, is testament to the match rhythm that they get. We've also freshened things up here and there. We haven't kept the same team as we went along. With that in mind, with keeping the players motivated, keeping them fresh, keeping them mentally and physically tuned in. So I think we're in a good place going into this game tomorrow evening.
Just on that, how difficult a balance is it when you do change things about to freshen it up? Is there always that worry that you don't keep that consistency and momentum?
Yeah, I just think, everything's different this season, and I don't normally make as maybe 3 to 4 changes in a game. And it's just balancing, the depth of the squad, getting players game time because they've had a long layoff, keeping them motivated, keeping them incentivized. And that's what we've endeavoured to do. Things, again, will settle down domestically after the window. We'll have a full idea of what our squad is and we'll use that to the best that we can.
Neil, I was DC from BBC here. Apologies, you can't see my big fat face, but I kind of get the camera to work, so that's a blessing for you.
Listen, your interiors can't be as bad as Alison's and that, so you're all right, David.
You should see all the books I've got behind me here. Unbelievable. It's like the famous museum in ancient Egypt in Alexandria, the books I've got here. I was just going to say, it's a big 5 days for you, do or die in Europa League, and then the transfer window closes. Ronnie asked you there if qualification would change your budget. I'm just wondering if qualification will change maybe how many players you're able to hold on to as well.
Well, look, I don't think that's an issue for us now in terms of players leaving. I think the club are going to be and are quite strong on that. We don't want anyone to leave. We want to keep all our assets, and regardless of the result tomorrow night, that'll be the case.
Also, I noticed that the weekend you said it was a 10 out of 10 performance from Celtic against Hibs. That's going to be hard to. You can't top a 10 out of 10, but you'd be looking to match that tomorrow.
Yeah, basically in the context of our season, I thought it was a superb performance. And the opposition that we were playing, Hibs having got a decent result the week before against Rangers. Coming here confident, and we had played on the Thursday night, travelled back on the Friday. So you take all those mitigating circumstances into the pot, and it was particularly the second half we were outstanding. Now, whether we can maintain that, it's different opposition, different environment, different competition. But I think, the players will have got, a lot of confidence from that performance at the weekend.
David Turnbull turning a lot of heads. He must be
He
And
was
your
excellent.
thoughts about a start?
He was absolutely excellent, and you know, yeah, he's right in there, you know, and he's bedded in really well, and you can see, you know, the qualities that he has. And it's another young Scottish, you know, player that, you know, I think it's important that we still have homegrown players, you know, in the building. I think it's good for the atmosphere in the dressing room, and also, you know, good for the mentality of the team as well. So delighted to have him, and delighted with the way he played.
Neil, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Ferencváros qualifying for the Champions League group stage for the first time in a number of years. Do you look back at the game you were eliminated and think, oh, well, perhaps they are a much better side than people thought, and it wasn't that bad a result? Or was it bittersweet? You thought that could have been us in the group stage now?
No, I'm thinking it could have been us. You know, actually, you know, after, you know, doing the analysis of them and then actually playing the game, I felt we were far superior than Ferencváros, and, you know, it's a game that we've got away from us. Now, they've gone on and done brilliantly. They've beaten good teams along the way to qualify. So, you know, good luck to them. You know, but from our point of view, you know, we can't afford that to happen tomorrow night again. You know, we must be, you know, ruthless. You know, we had so much domination of the game against Ferencváros, and it's a game that we've let get away from us as a group. Disappointing, but it shows, and it gives me a little bit of encouragement to know that we've dominated a team that have qualified. You know, so that gives me a little bit of encouragement going forward for these games.
And finally, from me, Neil, the Scotland squad was announced yesterday. 3 players, I believe, that you've got in. Is there any concern for you as the manager that you've got 3 players and there's going to be a triple header? So they could be playing 3 times before coming back to Celtic before such a big game as the Old Firm.
Yeah, massive. You know, it's not just the Scottish boys. You know, it's the Israeli boys and Norwegians. You know, Sheehan with Ireland. You know, all our international players here going away. You know, could be, you know, involved in 3 games. That would mean they play on the Wednesday, and then travel back on the Thursday. The game Saturday morning. So we're going to have no time whatsoever really on the training ground with them. So yeah, it's a lot cause for concern. 1, you know, picking up injuries, and 2, you know, the little time that we'll have with them when they come back.
Neil, can I just jump in quickly for the transfers again and the transfer window? Just for clarity, at this moment, has not been any approaches for any of your players so far?
Not that I'm aware of, Ronnie, no.
And just one other one, obviously the window shuts on Monday. In terms of you, I appreciate this may be out with your control to some extent, but would you think there's a point during the window where it's maybe too late to accept offers for maybe some of your better players, if that was to come, simply just because Monday midnight to replace them, it's going to one hand tied behind your back?
Absolutely, 100% right, and that's why we're, you know, very, very strong on not selling any of our players now.